election was totally rigged. They totally stole it from me. And believe me, I can prove it. Remember when I won in Pennsylvania? We won big there. We crushed there. Georgia, we crushed. It's like, again, this is the whole up is down, left is right, all of that. And this is, to me,
love you, double K.
You're the best. To me, you look at this and you say, are you willing to go over the cliff with Trump when he loses his mind? And in this case, Fox News was willing to do it and willing to go on TV and say the Dominion voting machines were rigged, that they swung votes. Remember, this is one of the things.
But they had no evidence, right? It's not like there's any journalism or reporting happening, correct? These were just claims. Like, it wasn't like there was an investigation. I don't watch this. I don't watch Fox.
Well, what this is to me is it's very reminiscent. This is the parallel, and maybe this is also the smarter play in terms of the liberals, in terms of who they have in their corner, in terms of who's advising them, in terms of the language that they say. Because remember, the very common theme that was being used immediately after the 2016 election, because remember, Trump was just doing this in response to what the Democrats did to him in 2016. The Russians rigged the election for Donald Trump. So when they were confronted with the question of, so what you're saying is, did the Russians, did they flip votes? Did they flip votes in the voting machines? And that's where the Democrats stopped. They weren't willing to go there because they know what they were saying was bullshit, and that if they got caught saying that they were flipping votes in the voting machines legally, they would be faced with the same shit right now that they could sue MSNBC and CNN for.
So it was a libel suit. It was a libel suit. Okay. I mean, I wasn't really following it, but I also wasn't aware of any of the story. I mean, I remember it at the time, but I had no idea if they had any real information. I never really thought about it, because for all I know, there very well could be. It's not like that concept of that happening, not by Russians per se, but the idea of being hacked, and that's extremely realistic. Like, that doesn't at all surprise me.
Correct, but you also have to be able to prove it. Now,
it isn't the Russians.
Do I think that it's very possible that the voting machines are messed with? Has it been shown that the voting machines that there are issues with the voting machines, particularly in places like Chicago? Yes. It's always been known that there are certain places where they
interestingly, a lot of blue places.
Ballot harvesting is what it's called. Ballot stuffing is the same. It's the same.
We have that here.
Use. Are they counting votes on a weighted system? That was as it was shown to me at the 2016 People's Convention in Philadelphia. That the way that they were counting votes with the Chicago voting machines was 1.1 for Hillary and 0.9 for Bernie. That very slight shift in the vote.
That's all it takes.
Is that possible? That's all it takes. And maybe it wasn't detected. And sometimes it takes a whistleblower that's on the inside that knows what's going on.
But that's not what happened here with Fox.
No.
Okay. So that's the thing.
Saying was that they were trying to just go right along with exactly what was being said, was that this was rigged. So I think the best video that we could play is probably Yahoo Finance, which just deals with Fox News faces potential shareholder lawsuit after settling with Dominion for $787 million, because this is where the money can get very serious. Well, actually,
you think this will affect Rupert Murdoch getting married for the fifth time?
5 times?
Yeah, he's getting married for the 5th time.
All right, so
at 92.
Let's see, which would be the best?
I really thought him and Jerry were meant for eternity.
Oh, really? You know what I'm going to play? We're going to play our friends in Aussie land and see how they covered this, because I think we're going to get an honest response from anybody. It's probably going to be that, because you want to hear from somebody who's not in the country, who can probably give you like the.
Do we get the accent and everything?
Of course.
Oh, okay. Oh no, it's Tucker.
No.
Okay. All right.
All right. So this is.
I don't need to hear Tucker.
No. Tucker. No. So here is ABC News in Australia covering the Dominion lawsuit against Fox.
This will be interesting.
Welcome to Tucker Carlson.
Coverage like this has cost Fox dearly.
The real point is that fraud took place.
These polls weren't scientific.
Dominion machines helped count the votes in the 2020 presidential election. But as the result became clear, Fox broadcast false allegations that Dominion was involved in a plot to steal the election from Donald Trump.
Switch votes, foreign or Democratic Party influence, secret tampering.
The company sued for defamation, but to avoid trial, Fox is paying up.
Today's settlement of $787,500,000 represents vindication and accountability. Lies have consequences.
In February, a stunning trove of internal communications revealed that Fox chair Rupert Murdoch and Fox hosts privately acknowledged the vote rigging claims were false, but allowed them to be aired anyway. Today's settlement spares the network the embarrassment of having some of its best-known figures called to the witness stand. In a statement, Fox Corp acknowledged the court's rulings, finding certain claims about Dominion to be false, but it did not apologise. The legal battles aren't over for Fox regarding lies about the 2020 election. Election technology company Smartmatic has launched a lawsuit similar to Dominion's, but it's asking for an even bigger figure, more than $4 billion. Even for a company as big as Fox, today's payout will hurt, but the damage to its reputation could prove even more costly. Carrington Clark, ABC News, Wilmington, Delaware.
Well, that was interesting.
I did actually really appreciate the Aussie version of the news. Like, why not? We should actually, every time we show a clip, we should use a different country.
Well, frankly, the way I see it, we should
international.
definitely use other countries' news sources because they don't have the for-profit motive that we have. It's not the same. They're there to deliver the news. Just give us the facts, Jack.
Yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, I know they have like media personalities and they have that in other countries, but I was just looking at something recently that was talking about public funding for media, and we are like the lowest. Yeah. And that's one of the biggest problems.
And Metalopoly, you're a little late because we brought this up, and I specifically mentioned that Trump's elections rigged.
Will you stop whataboutism
is a direct result of Hillary and everybody immediately after Trump won said, "Oh, it's the Russians. The Russians allowed to get in." And when the question was put forth, they never ever crossed that line, the Rubicon of saying, "Yeah, they rigged the election."
But they insinuated.
Correct. They had to say, "Oh, they totally did this. They totally did that." And yes, I do agree that there is a corporate. Not everyone thinks there's a liberal bias. No, there's a corporate bias. Liberal bias in this country. And so, by extension, they're going to say that, "Oh, the Russians totally rigged the election for Trump." But what they were saying, which is why Dominion was successfully able to sue them, they were saying that Dominion flipped the votes. That the tabulation of the votes is illegal, that's wrong.
Right. They were specific. They specifically called out something that would be criminal.
Now, as I would say to people back in 2017, 2018, when they're like, "Oh, Trump is totally legitimate. He didn't win. He didn't do this. He didn't do that." And I would say, did they rig the voting machines? They would never cross that line. That's where it stopped. Right.
So, and Fox was willing to go there.
Correct.
So they crossed over into the libel zone. Right. Mm-hmm. So that was really more, we by no means think that, oh, they are the means of the problem. But they were, you know what? Pigs get fat, hogs get slaughtered. They crossed the line and they went over the libel line.
And as has always been the point with Trump in particular, as it relates to the older, comfortable, suburbanite liberal, urban dwelling liberal, for many of them, they were psychologically traumatized by Trump.
Oh, no. People still have Trump derangement syndrome. There's people all the time that have.
And the fact that it happened at the expense of Hillary Clinton, like you add that into the mix, like psychological trauma is very real for them. They were convincing themselves in their mind that Hillary didn't really lose.
This is a level of privilege that's just fascinating to me. If really that is something that could bother you that much,
when your life
must be so friggin'.
Thanks for watching. If you want to support our mission to transform politics into service, please like this video, subscribe, follow us on social media, and consider joining our Patreon, where you'll get early access to our interviews as well as other exclusive content. Links are in the description. Peace out.